see the road is all clear. There are no clouds, only sun. Our journey's just begun. Put your faith in me. Let your mind be free. Feel how strong, passionate, on and on. This is it.
I wanna make sound. I wanna change everything. I wanna know it, feel it, take it all. I wanna fix everything. But the hardest part of this is to take who you are and change what you need. Stuck in a place you're not meant to be. Take all your doubts, take it from me. You made your chains, now be the release. I wanna scream out, 'cause I can't stand this wait and see. 'Cause I've been way down, way too long. There's still a pulse in me. But the hardest part of this is to take who you are and change what you need. Stuck in a place you're not meant to be. Take all your doubts, take it from me. You made your chains, now be your release. Who let you down? Who let you down? There is no easy way out. Who let you down? Who let you down? The right words, the wrong time, a hard look and the hard lines. Who let you down right now? There is no easy way out. Take who you are and change what you need. Stuck in a place you're not meant to be. Take all your doubts, take it from me.
to the National Underwater Robotics Challenge 2025. We have several spectacular teams competing this evening here at Arizona State University Polytechnic campus. This year's game, we are going back in time to the Jurassic era. Prehistoric plunge, these teams will have a limited amount of time to complete several different missions, including identifying dinosaur eggs by entering through a temporal portal, going back in time, looking at the nests of the dinosaurs, helping put a tracker on one such dinosaur, and working to stop a volcano from erupting. We have our first team getting ready to load up. They are the Typewriter repairmen, a usual team we see here at NERC every year, and they're starting us off to show us how it's done. Every team has 5 minutes allotted to set up to get ready to run the mission. In between our different teams running, we have several divers helping to reset the field of play here. So not only does that allow our teams to get set up, but us to make sure everything is ready to rock and roll here at the pool. And we are officially off and running for NERC 2025. You will see in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, the timer has started counting down. Teams have 15 minutes to complete as many missions as they can. So far, we do have one ROV underwater, navigating its way. This team, the Typewriter repairmen, have 2 ROVs, remotely operated vehicles. The white one you'll see on screen, that is Sebastian. The red one, you might notice the logo of a rather famous university. That robot's name is Babs. They are going to work in tandem to score different objectives here as we see Sebastian moving towards Momo the Mosasaur, getting ready to launch the torpedo tracker. Prior to this competition, this team was working hard to come up with an action plan. They have a mission order and contingency plans on which to score ahead of time. Looks like Babs getting ready to drop off the cold fusion bomb there. So over here in the corner, that is a volcano. The volcano is scheduled to erupt imminently, so we're trying to delay that eruption with this cold fusion device. If they are successful with that, then they will be able to add 5 more minutes to their play clock. They have seated the cold fusion device into the box there, perfectly in place. You know, another ROV was lost. In fact, Babs turning its camera near that lost ROV, wanting to make sure we leave nothing behind here in the past to cause an anomaly. Babs navigating around towards that ROV, smiling for the camera as we see it getting ready to grab the black box data recorder. ROVs, just like airplanes, have a data recorder on board for any imminent failures that may happen. This will help the scientists to understand what went wrong and be able to diagnose so that they do not cause a temporal issue. Typewriter repairmen running 2 different machines. Babs still working to score the black box off of the abandoned ROV as the other machine, Sebastian, making its way back through the portal to the human waiting on the other side. Babs now releasing the black box sample so that it floats towards the surface. Using the rover camera here on Sebastian as well to navigate and complete tasks in parallel. This is the only team we have that's running 2 separate ROVs. This year the rules do allow for that, as long as they are within our power limitations. So far, Typewriter repairmen with a score of 20 points on the board. The scores you're going to see during our missions tonight are not the full picture. Teams have done presentations to the judges throughout today, in addition to building a website and a report that help document their engineering progress in completing this year's challenge, Prehistoric Plunge. Sebastian now going back towards the surface, returning to the tether manager. It appears that they are now placing a propeller in the grasp of Sebastian there on the rover cam. We have an output feed from the rover itself. That will show it looking like it's going towards the propeller detonation area. You can see that onboard feed now. lining up with Momo the Mosasaur. Not one of our divers. We do not want to put a tracker on one of our divers there. Looks like we are turning around to possibly reapproach. We may have already... Looks like we've already shot the projectile as well. It is spinning its way up through the water, though the team cannot see that right now. Sebastian now roaming its way across the ocean towards the jellyfish we see bobbing up and down there. Looking at some of these prehistoric creatures to see if they're helpful for further research. You know, we have access to fossils, but if you can get the real deal... Looks like we have a jellyfish gone awry here on the fields. Typewriter repairman now with a score of 30 with still 14 minutes to go. Plenty of time to accomplish our challenges. Another one of their big collection missions, aside from the jellyfish, will be grabbing the right kind of eggs out of each nest. It's looking like Sebastian now going for the jellyfish, whereas Babs carrying its basket, trying to put all of its eggs in one basket in one of our different nests here. As we see a side view, we have our surveillance, of course, in the dinosaur nests, making sure we have the hatch cam live for if any action happens. Want to see those baby dinosaurs. Babs is now retrieving the egg, placing it into the basket, building its own retrieval mechanism. Now, while it is doing that, it looks like we have one jellyfish on shore, and Sebastian heading back to retrieve another one. Babs leaving without its basket as well, trying to go for the correct eggs here. Sebastian now going for the next jellyfish. There should be 3 available for it. Those are worth a good amount of points if they can score all of them. Yep, each jellyfish is worth 10 points, 20 points bonus if they score all 3. Since they did place the cold fusion device into the volcano, that's where those 20 points came from. Looks like Sebastian trying to go for the jellyfish. See it using its highly adaptable acquisition mechanism, or HAM for short, to retrieve the jellyfish. Babs now retrieving its basket from the nest as Sebastian goes for the jellyfish. Trying to navigate for the handle down there. So we have 2 different drivers here. One person is responsible as well for retrieving the ROVs, helping manage all the things that come with the ROVs. Sebastian now returning towards another objective. Babs with the basket, putting all of its eggs into that one basket. Trying not to count them before they hatch, if you will. Sebastian heading over towards the volcano. Perhaps trying to measure the temperature there. Making sure our understanding of geology matches that which we think it is so far. It appears that there's a thermocouple on the end of that arm that will be able to measure the temperature there. You can see the bubbles around the surface. Some of that is from the actual thrusters on the ROV, but there is some hot water being pumped into the area. Babs in the basket back in action with the next dinosaur nest, trying to obtain the eggs that are needed. Another hefty points haul available in the eggs. If you get all of the eggs assigned to you, 50 points. Mission has a potential for 350 total points. We're now in the triple digits. Babs is now looking for the different eggs. So we see it trying to pick up the right color. Using the onboard camera. Still carefully measuring the temperature. Babs now going with one egg in hand, or rather in basket. Leaving only the red illuminated one in the nest. There are only limited entrances to each nest. Each entrance is a little bit different too, so that means it can be a little difficult to maneuver around, making sure that your ROV does not get tangled up in its tether. Due to the characteristics of water, it can be very difficult to communicate wirelessly. So each of our ROVs has a tether, helping provide power and data to and from the robot. We see Babs and the basket just tilting to the side, but still holding on to those eggs. That was almost an underwater omelet we had on our hands here. But still successfully making its way towards the surface, trying to keep that momentum and prevent some broken eggs on the seafloor. Still trying to get a temperature measurement here as well, but Babs returning towards the surface with eggs in hand to be soon retrieved by their tether manager and robot surfacing assisted there at the temporal portal. Typewriter repairmen taking advantage of having multiple ROVs. You know, as the saying goes, many hands make light work. In this case, many sticks, perhaps, or baskets make light work. Or dark work, really. Sebastian investigating our undersea volcanoes. You know, the land, Arizona and a lot of the western U.S. has volcanic soil. Sometimes we do get earthquakes in this state. During the times of the dinosaurs, and before that, there was something called the inland waterway, where many different aquatic creatures lived. Hypothetically, of course, we could have the mosasaurs, which are our Nessie animal there. Babs going back for another egg. As we see the light maneuvering around, each of the eggs has a different color. They've been given a specific sampling list that they need to acquire. Babs has an egg, is bringing that egg back by hand towards the basket as well, it appears. Looks like they have multiple cameras on board as well to help navigate Babs through the water. Just a few minutes remaining in our mission so far. Babs still underwater, grabbing the remaining eggs from that nest. After this is done, our robot operators may not know this, we only have one egg remaining for them. And Babs can actually see what dinosaur they're grabbing an egg from based on the colors there as it's trying to make a grip onto the egg. Sebastian now going for that final egg that was left in one of our nests that I had mentioned earlier. Has the egg in hand and is escaping, or escaping perhaps, with 4 minutes to go. Like we said earlier, 350 potential points so far available to any of our teams in the missions, as we have 140 scored on the board. After the matches are over, we will have a live ranking system scrolling on the screen that will show you how they stack up against each other in their mission performance. As I mentioned previously, there are essays, websites, presentations that also have been scored. That performance will not be reflected in the scores here. All of these teams had to complete a qualifying round, which helped allow them to select which time slot they wanted to go in. Historically, our typewriter repairmen like to go in that first time slot, but they were not actually the fastest time in a qualifying upset this year. The SubDevils, another team we'll see later this evening, scoring just a little bit faster. Unfortunately, we were not able to have two of our teams qualify and run that. Underwater robotics. Robotics itself is hard. Underwater robotics adds a whole new level of complexity to it. But these teams have been doing amazing and still have the potential to score points in many different areas, even outside of the robot mission, as we see the typewriter repairman score climb to 220 points. Jellyfish now heading back towards the portal. Not very many potential mission objectives left to complete for the typewriter repairman. If this challenge were typewriter repair, they'd be all out of typewriters. Looks like just Babs is the one in action now, as Sebastian has been pulled out of the water. Babs now surfaced as well. Looks like we are potentially, it looks like we are done for the typewriter repairman run as the clock has stopped. They will now be unplugging their devices, getting ready to head off the pool deck. Good score for the typewriter repairman. We'll see that up on the rankings here. In just a few moments. Currently, our typewriter repairmen have a preliminary score of 256. Our judges, of course, will be finalizing that number. We may have a final score for you here in a few minutes. We are getting set up for our next round here. Your final score, you see it scrolling on the bottom of your screen. 256 points for the Typewriter repairmen in our mission scores. Stellar performance from them, completing most of the tasks available. And in just a moment, we'll be able to hear from one of the Typewriter repairmen themselves. And bringing you the interview from the sidelines here, we have Arnel Garcesa interviewing one of our Typewriter repairmen. Now down to you, Arnel.
I've been locked in this cage for the last 13 days. Got a list full of names. Now they're all gonna pay. You can try to run and hide, but don't forget revenge is mine. Hope you remember in the end, I keep my enemies a little closer than my friends. I am a fighter until the day I die. My demons are frozen 'cause I wouldn't know.
Please stand by. We're having some technical difficulties here.
I'll bury you alive. I am a fighter. I've been counting the days till I break free from these chains. Got a fistful of rage. Now you're all gonna pay. You can try to run and hide, but I was born under a black sunshine. You cross that line, you're good as dead. 'Cause I keep my enemies a little closer than my friends. I am a fighter until the day I die. My demons are frozen 'cause I wouldn't know them. I am a fighter, now bury you alive. I am a fighter.
We have another ROV in the water. We have two different teams competing this week from our Arizona State University summer camps. These teams have just had a short few days to prepare their vehicle for action here under the surface.
End up like the rest. You cross that line and put my patience to the test. Your time has come to
SubDevils running their ROV towards the volcano there, placing the cold fusion device, trying to delay the eruption. You may notice in other camera shots here a reddish tint to the lights. That means the volcano could explode imminently. Looks like the ROV backing out hasn't left the cold fusion device. Not sure if they can tell that from their angle. It is now on the ocean surface, tangled up a little bit in their tether, trying to free themselves here. Re-gripping on the cold fusion device, trying to place it in its new home. Will they get the extra 5 minutes of time and 20 points for scoring the cold fusion device? They're very close to scoring that objective. still hanging on to the ROV by a fingernail here. A lot of robotics competitions only have navigation on a flat field or on a kind of 2D surface where they don't have to worry about the height as much. One of the challenges with underwater robotics is not just maneuvering in water, but also having to deal with all of the degrees of freedom available to you and your machine. As we are seeing our team have some challenges with here, getting caught on a volcanic expedition, needing to free themselves from the dark interior as they emerge from the volcano, going towards the abandoned ROV that broke down near the heat of the volcano. Our ROV heading towards the surface and back down underneath. Yes, the SubDevils team, one of our ASU teams here, returning back towards the temporal portal to be picked up by the human player. As we have our audience cheering them on. Not sure if we successfully got the cold fusion device scored by the team or not, as the SubDevils team going for one of the jellyfish available as it floats through the ocean floor here. Jellyfish is surfacing. SubDevils trying to use their stick attachment to grab a hold of the jellyfish and corral it back towards the shore through the time portal. It's neutrally buoyant enough that it's having some challenges, but it is able to move it. SubDevils juggling the jellyfish around here. Trying to use the ring on top to grab a better hold on it. It can be difficult, once again, the different degrees of freedom, to be able to grab a secure hold onto the different game pieces. Looks like they have it caught on board. Not sure if the SubDevils are aware of that fact. It is being towed along. Oh, it was caught on there for a minute and just dropped as they go for another jellyfish attachment, trying to get a hold of it before it slips out of their grasp. Oh, looks like we lost a jellyfish tentacle there for a moment. Hopefully our research scientists won't be too upset. Our ROV carefully navigating towards the opening of the jellyfish. You can see how difficult it is for our drivers to maneuver into that small target area. Underwater ROVs are becoming very common, as they have been for several years now. Not just for science experiments and understanding the depths of the ocean, but also for maintaining the important pipelines that help things like the internet circle the globe. In fact, we know more about our solar system and the universe than we know about the oceans on Earth. more than we have explored them. Looks like our SubDevils are trying to grab onto the jellyfish. They're getting very close to it. Unfortunately, it's fallen to the ground, which makes it a little more challenging to grab a hold of. Hopefully, it'll be able to hitch a ride just like the other one did. Like we may have lost a leg on the jellyfish again here as the attachment device. The jellyfish's home has been upended. Just a few minutes left for the SubDevils, but still plenty of time to score a few points here. Like the artifact you may see on screen is the tether of the SubDevils machine here. Trying to understand where it's heading. If it's heading back towards the surface, the only input that the team has is the video on board the robot, so it can be very easy to get turned around, especially in such a dark environment. It does have a light on board. That's what's illuminating our view here. But even in a small, even in a 25-yard pool, it can still be a maze. Especially if you're chasing after a game piece and get turned around. SubDevils now navigating back towards the way they came. Moving it through the nest and everything towards the time portal. Heading towards the surface, maybe trying to get reoriented. Let's see what happens here. Looks like they may be untangling their tether. SubDevil has forks up and ready to go for the third jellyfish here. Still ready and waiting on board. If they can grab a hold of it while it's still in its home, it will be a lot easier. But it is knocked to the ground. Hopefully they can reorient themselves, take some lessons learned from their past attempts, and grab our jellyfish to the shore. Trying to thread the needle there can be tricky. And the jellyfish tentacles don't make it easy to pick up as it will slide around. They have it on board! We have a jellyfish returning to the shore. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Now, our ROV has a limited field of view as it tries to make its way back home, but it is just almost at the portal. Delivering it to the waiting arms of the human player. And we have a jellyfish on the shore. Excellent work, SubDevils, with still some time left to score missions. Let's see what our teams are going to go for here. They're going back towards the old ROV, trying to clear the black box recorder off of the ROV. It looks like their scoring mechanism has gotten in the way of the vision, making things a little more challenging. Maybe going towards the volcano, though I'm not sure they're able to see too much of what's going on as the mechanism has blocked a lot of the camera vision, which could cause some challenges for the SubDevils. They may be trying to use the volcano to clear that mechanism, and they do. Now they're able to see a lot more. As they release the black box recorder towards the surface, trying to grab a hold of it. Once again, another challenging objective here. They have it secured! They had it secured at least. We can't quite tell from this angle if they still have it in their grasp. Looks like it's on the surface at least. Once again, trying to clear their attachment using the volcano. A good use of the field. Helping control the robot there. And just a few seconds left. Searching around now for the data recorder. They'll be able to find it there. They're surfacing. No data recorder to be found there. I see something that looks quite a bit like it, though. Just a few seconds left. It'll be time to head back home here pretty soon so they don't get locked on the other side of our time portal. Just less than a minute left. The ROV returning back to home base here. Is it now at the bottom of the pool, trying to surface before time runs out. A very hard-fought mission from the SubDevils. Lots of perseverance being showed by our team. And it looks like time has completed. They have stopped the clock, which means they are done with their missions. Great work to the SubDevils team. Excellent perseverance here. We'll have a final score here in a few minutes on the side of the deck. On the screen, you will notice we've got 50 points on the board for the SubDevils. They have finalized the score. Our judges have finalized the score. 50 points could be, from my estimation, our final scores will be out later, but we had 10 points for the jellyfish and 40 for opening the damaged ROV data recorder panel. Looks like we are ready to talk to our typewriter repairman here on the sidelines. Let's head over to Arnell in the pits.
Good evening again. This is Arnell Garces at the ASU Polytechnic Gym. We're here at the pits. And I'm speaking here now with Lioness Forbes. Lioness is a member of the Typewriter Repairmen. They were the first team that went. We apologize for the technical difficulties earlier, but now we're able to speak with Lioness here. Lioness, first question for you. When the game rules came out, and how did your team approach the strategy going into building 2 ROVs and then being able to, how do you feel like you executed that throughout the missions today?
So when we were looking over the game's different aspects, we noticed that there's a lot of objects that need to be brought to and from the surface. We also were unsure about how well we would be able to pick up the eggs. And so we decided that we were going to throw in our old robot Babs from 15 years ago because she's still functional. And we kind of thought it would be a fun challenge to have 2 robots going at once. And I think that it was a fairly successful operation. We were able to collect all 9 eggs successfully, as well as all 3 jellyfish. And so in order to do so, we brought down that little basket, and that really saved us a lot of time not having to do 13 back-to-back runs to and from the surface.
Yeah, thank you. Follow-up question to that. You mentioned you had 2 ROVs here in the competition this evening, and you brought one that was from 15 years ago. So it's very interesting that you were able to essentially recycle your ROV from 15 years ago. What was the practice time like, practicing with 2 ROVs in preparation for this evening here today? And how do you feel like your team was able to drive those 2 ROVs here this evening?
We didn't get that much practice in with both robots simultaneously, but we did have one evening where we were able to practice for about 20 or 30 minutes with both robots running at the same time in the same pool. And I think we kind of figured out at that point it's not that bad to manage having 2 tethers going down at the same time. And I think we didn't run into any snags during our mission run, so I think it was a successful run of 2 robots simultaneously while managing the tethers and kind of swapping various objectives.
Yeah, very interesting. And then, as you mentioned, the ROVs that you use happen to be kit bots that a lot of the community and a lot of the teams here actually followed a similar design. So I'm curious, as you mentioned earlier, you're recycling a robot from 15 years ago. What is that process like, being able to help some of the teams out here that are using the same ROV format, and then being able to assist them throughout all the years that you've been here at NERC?
So we kind of view the challenge as a whole as a bit of a challenge in itself, where building underwater robots is an incredibly difficult task. And year after year, our team has come to these events and seen year after year, robot after robot they haven't gotten it into the pool yet. They haven't really tested all of their systems. And the fundamentals of making an underwater robot are very complicated. And there's issues like you can't use any wireless communication effectively. And so we kind of go into the competitions assuming we're going to need to help other teams. And so we've kind of made that one of our own goals, is to try to help the competition get as many robots into the pool every year as possible.
I guess that makes it more fun, being able to see what other teams can accomplish, both with your help and then on their own as well. That's really neat to see. Final question for you. Anything else you'd like to talk about regarding your performance here tonight, in the mission or otherwise?
I think the thing I'm most, or that's kind of in my head the most right now, is our attempt at firing those torpedoes. It's something that we've spent about the past month working on over the weekends and when we have free time. Unfortunately, none of them actually were able to hit the target, However, the third one we fired got pretty close. It had the right altitude. It was just way too far to the right. And so I'm both sad that none of them were able to successfully land on target, but I'm quite happy that we were able to deploy 4 torpedoes and that at least one of them got pretty close to the target.
Yeah, that's great to see. And obviously, unfortunately, nothing goes perfectly, but there's obviously learning experiences. I'm sure that the typewriter repairmen will study that, be able to come back to next year's NERC and improve on your ROV. Linus, thank you very much for taking time, especially after the technical difficulties earlier. Best of luck with the rest of the competition. Thank you.
Thank you. And good night to everyone watching.
And stand by, we will be interviewing the SubDevils here shortly. We'll pass it back to the command center briefly.
We have on deck the electric eels from the Si Se Puede Foundation, getting all set up and ready to roll here in their mission run. Each team has an allotted time to set up. That does not count towards their overall mission time, however.
is win, boy. All I do is win, boy.
And as you see in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, the time has begun on the Electric Eels with their robot Electro swimming through the depths here heading towards the volcano. Teams are prioritizing that objective because that buys them the most time quickly. Seeing the questionable insides there of the volcano as the cold fusion device is getting caught on the edge, but it's still in the grips of the Electric Eels machine, trying to place it into the designated holding box, which is just escaping them. Hopefully they will be able to maneuver their way above and drop it inside the box. Not quite able to tell from my point of view. Looks like we may have landed correctly there. We will take a look. Looks like they still have the cold fusion device in their grasp, but it is in the container. So if they can back off of it, they may be able to have that count as scored. Of course, I am not a judge here. Our judges are the final say on the scoring that happens here. So while we will be announcing what we see on the screen, that does not reflect the final scores. And the cold fusion device is in the basket, it appears. Of course, once again, judges taking a final look at it, but it looks good from my end. And we have the 20 points on the board. 20 points placed on the board for the cold fusion device being scored, plus an extra 5 minutes added to that mission time. Now our Electric Eels are swimming their way towards the dinosaur eggs, looking to pick up the correct ones there, looking at the shapes on the side. Very clear camera there for the Electric Eels. But those eggs are hard to grab. They are not designed to be returned to the surface. They are designed for hatching purposes, of course. So like our ROV is moving around the eggs. They had one caught under the frame there briefly, but they were able to free themselves. Taking a look and going for a realignment there. Once again, these machines can be difficult to control, but our Electric Eels are being rock stars here in the water. Looks like their transport device is slightly askew, which is causing some challenges for picking up the eggs as our Electric Eels swim back out of the nest to attempt another mission. Looks like they're going for the ever-important jellyfish. We saw the SubDevils have some challenges with those earlier, and it looks like the jellyfish escaping from the Eels very briefly here. Electric Eels carefully aligning with the jellyfish on the tower as it has now started heading towards the bottom of the ocean. Maybe they'll be able to get a hold of it, though, in a slightly unconventional manner. Taking a look from another angle here, the tether now getting caught up on the tower a little bit, perhaps. Not sure that our electric eels can see that happening, though. This could be quite the adventure to untangle here later. As, yes, unfortunately, they are taking a tower home with them. It's like they have recognized that they are holding on to the tower a little bit more than they should be. This may be a Nerk first, actually. Looks like our electric eels have found themselves in a bit of a quandary here. Not sure, though, how aware they are of the situation they're in, though they do see the PVC pipes blocking their view. We have our divers taking a close look, standing by, as we see here in the shot from one of our cameras, just in case some rescue is needed. We want to make sure these teams can still compete to the best of their abilities. Teams diagnosing what is going on with their ROV here under the surface. Perhaps trying to swim back home if they can. Looks like they may be trying to retrieve the robot via tether. While that is not necessarily allowed by the rules of the game, in certain circumstances, this is definitely allowable just to give the teams a chance to compete. The view of the rover camera here. It was the frame of the ROV. ROV now heading back home. Looks like they are free of the PVC piping. Looks like they are free of the PVC pipes there down there. Pulling tether, of course, is allowed for a penalty. Once again, want to allow the teams the opportunity to score more points, even if there is a brief penalty for rescuing the ROV. So we have a brief signal interruption.
Once you've lost love, you've lost your way. If you come back, I'll go running away. Once you've lost love, you've lost your way. If you come back, I'll go running away.
And our electric eels back under the water here, ready to score for another mission, going towards the jellyfish, carefully lining their way up after the adventure they were just on, seeing if they can score the reluctant jellyfish here. Once again, it can be very, very tricky to navigate these rovers. Not only do they have to deal with where they are both forward and backward, but also up and down, left and right, and all of the angles in between. Still 10.5 minutes though remaining for the electric eels, so lots of point scoring opportunity available to them. Looks like they're correcting their gripper mechanism, taking lessons learned from their last attempts at the jellyfish, using the angle of that to hold on to the jellyfish so that they can bring it back to surface. Oh, just shy of holding on to the jellyfish. That 3D perspective can be tricky. They're gonna go for a take 2. Trying to stay clear of the jellyfish home. Looks like they're navigating over towards one of the nests, perhaps going for some of those eggs, or to retrieve the jellyfish is actually right below them, though I'm not sure they're able to tell that. As they go towards the nest or one of the creatures based on those images on the eggs, as you can see now from the ROV's point of view. This is all the operator can see, which means that they have pretty limited field of view available to them. Looks like our ROV operators trying to line up with one of the attachment points on the eggs to try to hook onto it and bring it back to surface. They're heading out of the nest, back up towards their player on deck, trying to correct that attachment mechanism here. Seven and a half minutes remaining, still plenty of time since our team was able to detonate the cold fusion device, delay the volcano from erupting. The robot Electro now diving back towards the dinosaur nest. Oh, they spot that jellyfish that's available to them. See if we can get a hold of that in time. Carefully navigating, lining up. That is a very small target. We've seen every team here in the water struggle with grabbing a hold of it. It's a great challenge. Oh, they were just off from our viewpoint here. So again, this is what the operator sees. This is all the operator sees. We have the convenience of several camera angles here on the broadcast, but our students are not as close. Oh, if they just angle slightly. missing the egg by just inches. Hoping to grab a hold of the egg and return it back home. So close. And it's hooked on. Will they be able to secure the hold of that completely? Trying to calculate which direction they need to move to get it on board and pull it back to the surface. It is a tricky object to handle, and their grip is light as it just drops down. See them now from the nest cam. As they grab a hold, they have their hook in now. Carrying it back to the surface, maneuvering very, very carefully, trying to keep a hold on it. It is just attached by a fingernail as it comes up. Oh, almost avoided by the surface, but our human player grabbing it just in time. One egg returned for the electric eels. What an adventure they have been on so far. Trying to go for their second egg with the lessons they've learned. And this one, man, they are experts now with their claw firmly in hand. But they're caught on something here. What are we caught on? It could be the tether of the robot. They're taking a look. Looks like it's on their own tether. Perhaps they may be able to make it back home with the egg intact, as long as the tether is still available to it, and then the human on the surface can untangle this whole adventure here. Is what it looks like is happening as we have another egg on the shore. They're diving back down into the next nest. 40 points on the board for the electric eels. After some misadventures, they have triumphed over some of the adversity they've seen going into the next nest, scoping out the right egg, as we see from the nest cam. Now they have the technique down, ready to grab a hold of the eggs they need. Carefully trying to sweep across. They've cornered the eggs to help make positioning better for the ROV. Backing up. Trying to angle just into the right area to grip onto the egg. We are just on the border of grabbing one of those eggs with a little under 3 minutes remaining for the electric eels mission run here. And despite some challenges early on, it has been a success. While all these teams of different age groups and experience levels are competing against each other, competing the exact same missions here, they will be scored in brackets corresponding to their age group. But we will have an overall champion named as we have an egg in hand ready to go back to the surface. It looks like it's held on pretty securely from the point of view of the robot. We see it surfacing back. This is one Easter egg hunting machine here. A couple months late for that, but doing a great job nonetheless. We are at 50 points on the board for the electric eels. After quite the adventure earlier with their tether, they're heading for another egg, it looks like, going into one of our other nests. We see them scoping out their options there, trying to get a handle on the one they need. Looks like their acquisition mechanism is a little bit turned different from what they're used to, as it is getting moved by the eggs themselves, but they're going to try to re-angle and reposition on board. While it may seem like a very limited field of view available on the rover, this may be the best seat in the house for seeing how the eggs get acquired. It's like our ROV heading back towards shore with 43 seconds to go. They need to be back in time before the time portal closes. And we are rescued and on the shore. Great work to our electric eels for an outstanding run. A lot of perseverance being shown by our teams here, and some incredible work and engineering from our students. Well, we have 50 points on the board for the electric eels after an outstanding run. Of course, we did get to see the SubDevils perform their run earlier in the evening, and here on the sideline ready to interview our SubDevils team is Arnell. Let's hand it over to Arnell when we get ready here in just a moment. 50 points on the board for both our electric eels and SubDevils teams. Still one more run to come on the rankings screen. On the ranking screen, you'll notice 6 teams here so far in our rankings. Typewriter Repairmen, our first team up this evening, with a score of 256. Our other 2 teams, Electric Eels and SubDevils, with 50 points each. While we do have 3 teams remaining on the list, we only have 1 more run this evening. Unfortunately, Dobson Underwater Robotics team and Peoria Robotics were unable to qualify this evening. Underwater Robotics is difficult. That doesn't, however, lock them out of the points for our other components of the competition. So, of course, we invite y'all to tune in at Microchip tomorrow for our final scores. All right, with that, let's hear from the SubDevils about their exciting run. Arnell, down to you.
Yeah, thanks, Grace. Good evening again from the ASU Polytechnic Gym. We're joined now by 3 members of the SubDevils team. They ran second earlier this evening. We apologize that we weren't able to get their interview in time. So we're conducting their interview here, where we'll be followed by Electric Eels coming up very shortly. So I'm joined here by Kenji, Evelyn, and Ume from right to left. And we have individual questions for each of them. My first question to you, Kenji. What was your approach, your team's approach, once you found out about the rules of the game and your strategy going into it? You guys just found out about this less than a week. What was your team's strategy and approach?
So we came with the team strategy just on the day of the competition, so today. So our initial strategy was to go for the cold fusion and drop off the cold fusion device into the volcano to get the time and the points, as it was easier to go for it to first because it was already on our bot from the start. So after we go for the cold fission, since we're there, we were initially about to check our thermometer on the temperature, but our camera quality couldn't pick up it couldn't see the temperature on the thermometer. So we ditched the idea. So we went from the cold fusion to the fixing the ROV. So we would retrieve the ROV first and go back to follow our tether back to the base, but we couldn't get the ROV to hook onto our robot. So we then just focused on jellyfish, as in our practice runs. For some reason, we found it easier to go for the jellyfish first than the dino eggs, but I think it's just because during our practice runs, the jellyfish had the tentacle. They didn't have the tentacles on the practice run, so I think that affected the physics of the jellyfish, and it was just a lot harder for us to get the jellyfish. So we struggled on that for the whole time, but we did manage to get one jellyfish today.
Yeah, thank you, Kenji. And you mentioned a good point about the resilience of the team. I'll bring in Evelyn if I can. Evelyn, your team had multiple attempts to try and reel in that jellyfish. And speaking of what Kenji mentioned, being adaptable to try and hook one of those in and bring it back to the surface. What was that process like, being in the command center, being able to be persistent and ultimately get a jellyfish up to the surface?
The process, I would say, was frustrating. It was right there, and somehow we couldn't get it. I think the water, we kept drifting. I think that was our problem, and we were also stuck in our own tether. We were trying to get out of the tether, but we also had to get the jellyfish, so we prioritized the jellyfish over the tether.
I see, and ultimately, I think the main takeaway is that even though it was frustrating, as you mentioned, the persistence from your team was able to reel in the jellyfish, even though you faced some challenges. So, great job with your team being able to accomplish that. I've got one final question. I'll bring Ume in here. Your team is one of the ASU camp teams, and it's very interesting because y'all just came together. In fact, on this past Tuesday, what was that process like, being able to learn about the rules, being able to build an ROV in time for a competition in less than a week, and then assess your performance with that, being the fact that you had less than a week of time to prepare for this?
Yeah, it was definitely hard to put together a robot in less than basically 5 days. And that taught us a lot about the group work and the collaboration that's needed to make a robot like this. So it was a lot of fun overall to get together as a team, even though we were strangers at first. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And I'm sure there's a lot of great memories that y'all have made throughout the week, and I'm sure some of your mentors are really proud of what y'all have been able to accomplish. So any other final thoughts or final words that you want to say thank you, perhaps to your mentors or anyone with the team?
Thank you, Daniel, Natalie. Natalie.
SubDevils are good. Yeah, they rock.
We should have named our robot Dave.
Dave. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Kenji, Evelyn, Ume. Thank you again. Congratulations for what y'all have accomplished so far. Good luck with the rest of the competition. And thanks again for sharing time with us. Thank you. And we'll be right back with Electric Eels.
Just leave it all up to me to make things won't go quietly. It won't be that easy. The force of 100 men could never stop me. You can't give up on what we thought to be, even if it seems that the world's on top of me. As long as there's another day, I will fight for you this way. Just leave it all up to me to make things right the way that it used to be. Oh, you can leave it all up to me. I'll still fight just to make you see. I won't back down. I will stand my ground. I will get back up. I will keep on trying. I won't give up until I lift you up. No, I ain't done fighting. No, I ain't done fighting.
And we're back here at the ASU Polytechnic Gym, joined with 3 members of the Electric Eels team from left to right here, Nithika, Nevada, and Shradula. We've got 3 questions for each of y'all. Thank you for taking time right after your run completed here to answer some of the questions. First question for y'all. Once y'all found out about the rules and the format of the competition this year, what was your strategy throughout the design period, and then how well do you feel like you executed that here this evening?
So first of all, our strategy was to first understand the game, and then we found out that our grabber could get eggs and we could try for jellyfish. And then right before our competition, like right before the pool closed, we found out we could get the, what was it called?
Cool fusion.
The
Cool fusion.
Yeah, and then we got the cool fusion and put it in the gray box. So that was our first task. And then we went and tried to grab the jellyfish. And then Nithika will talk about the problems we had with that.
Sure. I think that's the second question. In terms of the resilience that your team had with trying to grab the jellyfish and some of the eggs too as well. There was a period of time where your tether was caught in one of the course materials. So talk about how that process was like.
Yeah, so I saw some of it, and when they came back, I was trying my best to take it out. Unfortunately, it was easy to take it out. So yeah, that was mainly about the tether problem that we had.
I see. Thank you. And then final question is, you know, you all were able to adapt the gripper at the end of your ROV several times throughout the mission after the ROV resurfaced back to the surface. What was that process like, trial and erroring with the different gripper angles and positions in order to grab the objects that you all were trying to grab?
So initially we were just trying, so our hook was initially facing up. So we were trying to hook through and grab the eggs. Since we couldn't get the eggs, we went straight to the jellyfish, and we couldn't get those either. And then Balaji, one of our mentors, gave us an idea to flip our hook to the side so that we could hook through like sideways. And so we brought it up, and then Nithika fixed it, and then we brought it back into the water, and then that's when we started getting the eggs. So if she wants to talk about it.
There was not that much to do. I just need to move it since our hook is attached with duct tape. It's really flexible and easy to move. So when they came back to the surface, I was just able to rotate it, and it was moving a bit forward because we did like tape it really like a lot, so it wouldn't do that initially, but it was enough that they were able to properly get the eggs.
That's awesome that y'all were able to make those adjustments, even in the heat of competition, and also use help from your mentors and able to do that. It was really a team effort and able to accomplish that. Again, thank you for your time. We're joined again by Nithika, Nevada, and Shradula. Thank you again for taking time to chat with us, and we'll send it back to the command center. Thank you.
With that, it is time for our final mission of the evening. On deck, it's Team Poseidon, one of our Arizona State University summer camp teams. They have, like our SubDevils team had just a short week to prepare for this competition, and we are excited to see them in action. We'll see the timer starting here on the screen. Poseidon with their robot Triton, son of Poseidon. As we see time start here on the screen, robot now in the water with the cold fusion bomb in hand, as we can see from our camera view. Looks like it is pretty challenging for the ROV to see what's going on. It's getting its bearings now, trying to head towards the volcano there in the depths of the ocean. Once again, placing that cold fusion bomb. Oh, it looks like it may not. Looks like it's still in hand. It was rather a jellyfish there on the screen that I was mistaken. It can be difficult to navigate through the ocean, as we see our rover have challenges with. Not only do they have to navigate all the obstacles, they need to make sure that the tether is not inhibiting them from completing any of the objectives, as the ROV heads towards one of the nests, it appears, down into the depths. ROV trying to get its bearings. It sees the surface markings there on the side. This is one of the biggest challenges for our teams here, especially given certain setups. Looks like they are caught on one of the nests. This is really where that picking order challenge comes into play. Our ROV looking like it's switching to a night vision mode with the camera, a lot more clear perspective underwater. ROV trying to navigate its way towards the volcano with that cold fusion device. They see it in the corner there. It looks like they've found it and are heading in that direction. In the darkness, it can be hard to tell what's going on, but we now see the ROV captured in the field of view of one of our cameras near the old abandoned ROV. From the point of view of our competing machine here, it's like they are caught around on one of the nests, perhaps. Seeing some collaboration from the team on deck here as they navigate their way around. Retrieving the cold fusion device to place it into the volcano if they can. Looks like we're navigating our way into the volcano. Trying to drop off the cold fusion device into its designated holding area. It's difficult to see if that is still in the grasp of the machine, rather. Still pretty dark there in the bottom of the sea. Had a brief moment of colored vision there from the machine. It's not quite getting enough light to not be in black and white vision here. Just 10 minutes remaining so far. The team may pivot over to a different objective since it appears that our cold fusion is not quite scored yet. They may persist through and try to score that to get those extra 5 minutes. It's unclear from my perspective if the cold fusion device is still on board the robot. One of the challenges we're getting with vision, oh, it looks like we had a brief electrical glitch there as we lost signal from the robot. They are not keeping the light on their machine at all times. Wondering if they had some challenges with visibility earlier. There's the light. Perhaps some electrical challenges here. We may see them reset and try again. They could be tangled around something in there, though. They're moving a lot in the volcano. I'm sure our divers will take a look and make sure everything's okay. Looks like we are clear of the volcano now. The ROV heading back home if they can. Trying to get its bearings where it is in the ocean here. It is difficult for the ROV to see what is going on despite the light on board. When there's not much for the light to reflect off of, it can blur the vision of the camera. Wondering if their tether is caught up on the entrance there. Or if they're, oh, rather, they are measuring the temperature of the volcano. That's what's happening here. And we have a signal loss. And the light's back on here. Wondering if there are some intermittent electrical challenges going on with the ROV causing that signal loss. Hopefully that doesn't impact their control mechanisms here as they navigate their way back down through the waters here. Starting to surface, trying to figure out their location in the pool to better align with their next objective. Seven minutes remaining in our match. Looks like they are trying to return the ROV back home. Six minutes and change to go here in our mission. ROV appears to be pretty close to one of the entrances there, to one of the nests as we see it bobbing up and down in the water. We've now hit full darkness here in Arizona time, meaning navigation is tricky. No residual sunlight to use, and they are not choosing to use their light as they have noticed it doesn't quite project the way they're wanting it to. but we have seen some incredible persistence and perseverance from our teams here. So I expect to see the same thing here as we return towards the time portal. They're going to reset and try again. Trying to navigate their way towards the portal so that they can be rescued by their human on the shore. They are out of the water. Time to try again. Robot back underwater, going for another mission objective here. They have a longer acquisition mechanism on board, but that may make it more easily tangled up in some of our fields. Like we have most of the team working together at the driver's station. Robot now underwater, trying to go for some of their final missions, perhaps acquire a jellyfish or an egg if they can, get some points here on the board. After quite the adventure of a match so far, they're diving into the nest, trying to make sure they don't get caught up too much on the structure here. Working hard to navigate through and observe which egg is which. They have their lights turned on, running into some of the steering challenges we've seen from a bunch of our other teams. Stopped moving for just a moment, but successfully back in control. Trying to reapproach, but getting their acquisition mechanism caught on the edge of the nest. Just under 3 minutes remaining here for our Poseidon machine. They're navigating around the nest, looking for which eggs they can grab. It's like our team working together, trying to share some strategy pointers between our drivers as they line up. Looks like they have run into a very similar tether issue. Not even noticing that. They have their tether caught on one of the jellyfish homes again. We saw that from one of our teams earlier. So this could be quite the adventure to surface after this mission. Two minutes remaining for our team. They have one egg in their grasp, holding on just barely. Let's hope we can get this back up to shore. They are weaving their way out. Their tether's still caught. Will they hold on to the egg and make it back home? They have left underwater. They're very close to the exit. And we have an egg on shore. Excellent work. That is another amazing example of perseverance being shown by our teams, especially having that tether caught on a jellyfish home again. It is quite the knot they have worked themselves into. Oh my. Just under a minute to go. Let's see if we can get any final points on the board before the timer runs out and they are stuck in the past. Looking for that jellyfish score, seeing if they can get a last-minute jellyfish in time before it's time to come home. Just 40 seconds left on the match here. They've lost track of the jellyfish, trying to scope around for it. We see the habitat. Will we find the jellyfish? 25 seconds to go. hoping we score some points here with the jellyfish habitat that we have in hand. And the robot's returning home after its prehistoric plunge. 10 seconds remaining. Trying to clear the robot a little bit here. And that is the end of the timer for our Poseidon team. Excellent work. That was quite the adventure of a mission. So with that, we will have an interview here in a few minutes with our Poseidon team to hear about the adventures of that match before we wrap things up for the evening. So please stay tuned for that. That'll be in just a couple minutes. Give them a chance to reset, for us to get set up here on the sidelines.
Those days, just make sure to keep it all still straight so you can tell me all about it. 'Cause I'll be on my way back home to you. Take the time to be loved. Just wear your scars and don't speak. 'Cause I know you don't have the words, so I'll go slow and let it all work in. Don't you give in, don't you give up.
be starting fires. We'll be starting fires. We'll build a new world from the ashes of an empire. We'll be starting fires. We'll be starting fires. We'll build a new world from the ashes of an empire. We'll be starting fires. We'll be starting fires. We'll build a new world from the ashes of an empire. We'll be starting fires. We'll be starting fires. We'll build a
Hey, good evening. We're back at the ASU Polytechnic Gym, joined by Jet from Poseidon, the second of the two ASU teams. Jet, thank you for taking time to chat with us after your team's run. First question for you, what was your team strategy once you found out about the rules and gameplay earlier this week, and how well do you feel like your team executed that?
Our strategy originally was to take the cold fusion and put it into the volcano to try and get like some extra time, and then we do the temperature because it was just like right there, and then afterwards we'd go for all the eggs because we thought that all the eggs would be worth more points and would be faster than if we did like the jellyfish and all the other stuff combined.
I see. So now that your team has accomplished this mission and run through it once, if you could go back in time and redesign your robot or reapproach the gameplay in a different way, is there something that your team might change or approach the mission in a different strategy?
Probably, I think we'd work more on the camera because today our camera servo broke, so we couldn't move it up and down, which was a big problem for like trying to aim our claw and seeing what we're doing just in general. But otherwise, I don't think I would change much.
I see. Thank you. And then final question for you. As I mentioned, you're one of the two ASU teams that just found out about this game and just organized yourselves earlier this week on Tuesday. And to be able to come in and build an ROV that approached the mission and were able to do some of the tasks, it's a brilliant job. What was it like being able to share the learning experience with your other ASU team, the SubDevils?
It was really great. I learned a lot of like skills on how to work as a team because like going into a room full of 20 people that you don't know, like everyone was from different schools, no one knew anyone, and being able to come out as like a full functional team with with good robots, with good robots, and just like have a lot of fun, you know, it's just like.
That's awesome to hear. A final question for you. Any thanks that you want to give to your mentors or your teammates as well?
Yeah, I'd like to thank them all for their support because obviously I couldn't do this on my own, but they've helped me learn, they've helped me grow, and I think I made a few friends here. So.
Well, that's awesome to hear that. Even in the condensed time that you had since Tuesday, you were able to accomplish a lot with your team, not only in the mission, but also outside of robotics as well. So, Jet, thank you very much for your time. Congrats so far, and good luck on the rest of the competition. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for having me here.
All right, thanks. And we'll send it back to Grace to close us out.
Thank you, Arnell. Thanks for hosting the interviews throughout this evening. Want to offer some more thanks here from those of us at NERC to the divers here in the water, our wonderful crew of judges who have both been monitoring our missions and helped grade the presentations throughout. Thank you to those behind the scenes helping keeping us fed and unsunburnt, keeping this live stream running as well. We have some superstars behind the scenes here at NERC. Of course, shout out to Arizona State University. We're here at the Polytechnic campus and have been for the last few years. And to the Si Se Puede Foundation for helping house where we build all these different mission structures. Well, that is a wrap on the National Underwater Robotics Challenge 2025. Our rankings from the missions are as follows. Typewriter Repairmen ranked 1 with a score of 256. Electric Eels and SubDevils tied for 50 points. For second with 50 points. Poseidon with 10 points. After quite the adventure of missions so far, some real nail biters this evening. Once again, thank you from all of us here at the National Underwater Robotics Challenge. We hope to see you here in the pool next year, and have safe travels home.